master this
One day I'll
technology.
master this stuff, won't I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, nearly there. Setting up your meeting for YouTube Live. That's what we want to do. And make sure to get those questions in over here on Zoom
Master
if
this
you. One
technology.
day I'll master. There we go. There's us talking about mastering this live on YouTube now, Jerry. So there we are, all ready to go over there. That's streaming nicely. Yeah, please get your questions in over here, premium members. Here on Zoom, we go to you first. Yes, excellent, MI. First question is in. I'll do some quick newsy bits first, and then we'll come back and find out what's going on in the various worlds of our Dream Team members this evening. I have got for you this evening. Yes, we've got to talk about the earthquake, of course, haven't we? That happened this week here, and we'll get some reassurance from Nunu as well. I mean, he can't. He's not going to predict or anything like that, but he can tell us how we can be covered in the instance. And I think the mayor was making the right sort of noises about Lisbon, saying that we're prepared as much as you can be for those sorts of things. Right, and there it is on your screen right now. I hope. Lisbon hit by 4.8 magnitude earthquake, no damage reported. I think a few ornaments fell off some people's bookshelves and so on, and we'll find out from people who actually live in and around Lisbon whether they felt that. That's your side of the water as well, isn't it, Gilda? Portuguese capital experienced 4.8 magnitude earthquake on Monday with the epicenter near the city of Sejal, an earthquake measuring 4.8. I think we've established that now. It's 4.8 on the Richter scale, everybody. That was Monday. Portuguese Sea and Atmosphere Institute, that's IPMA, has reported, and it's a very good idea to get IPMA bookmarked for all sorts of reasons, whether as well on your browser. The earthquake's epicenter was recorded around 14 kilometers from Sejal in the district of Setúbal and was felt in several places in Greater Lisbon. The earthquake was recorded at 1:24 local time. According to the information available at this time, the tremor did not cause any personal or material damage, thank goodness for that. And the earthquake was felt at maximum intensity in the municipalities of Almada and Sesimbra there in Portugal. Okay, on to the next news snippet. This was out today, seen in the Portugal news. Sorry if you're trying to eat your dinner at the moment. Blood donations needed to boost reserves. The invitation is there. I suspect if you're a resident in Portugal, they'll be glad to receive your blood if you like to do that sort of thing. I know some people do in their country of origin and may want to continue to do so here in Lisbon. So, Portuguese Federation of Benevolent Blood Donors, that's quite the acronym there, isn't it? The FATOBADES, or similar, has called for blood donations to avoid shortages in hospitals, warning that reserves are below necessary levels. So there's a call there if you'd like to make a blood donation. I don't know how it works here in Portugal. Maybe our Portuguese panelists can tell us whether you get a cup of tea and a biscuit as you do in the United Kingdom, as I recall. I don't know if that's a standard around the world, but we may be told that. Nunu might cover that as well. And down in the Algarve, I think, and I apologise on behalf of the British here, this might have been prompted by bad British behaviour. I'll do my best to speak to the people involved if I get the chance. But apparently, they're thinking of introducing fines. If you walk from the beach and you do not put clothes on and cover yourself up in the public places away from the beach, you might get fined up to €1,500. So Albufeira, and it seems it's only Albufeira, having dealt with this problem of drunken Brits in semi-naked states, are pushing back and wanting to stamp out this sort of behaviour. And quite right too. I say that as a Brit. And maybe if, as Jerry was saying last week with the motoring special, if the police are incentivised with fines, they'll get €150 on their Saturday night shift as a bit of a bonus if they dish out a €1,500 fine to a naked Brit in a bar there. So stop it. It's not very nice to be doing that. Okay, let's go to our panel, shall we? And find out what's going on this week's town hall from Expats Portugal. And we'll speak first to Gilda. How are you doing, Gilda? Did you feel the earthquake this week?
No, I
Oh,
didn't.
right.
I
Okay.
was in the middle of one.
You're in your own personal earthquake.
Yes, I was.
You want to say more?
I was having lunch, and I was preparing an event. So it was only 1 hour to the event, and I was really nervous running from one place to the other to try to get things done.
All right.
So even if there was an earthquake bigger and in Lisbon, I don't think that I would notice. But
So your own stress was maybe a 6 or 7 on the Richter scale, so you wouldn't
yes.
have felt it anyway. Right, yeah, okay.
But my husband was at home, and we live on the fifth floor. And as you know, the epicenter was very, very close to where we live.
Mm.
So Mandela got crazy, and he hold Mandela, and they went out for a walk during some time.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay. I'll pull it on Mandela. Okay, because often the pets are aware of this, aren't they? Birds and,
Yes.
and certainly dogs start barking in the neighborhood, and you know when that happens here in
And
Portugal.
he was acting funny for during holiday.
That's quite normal though, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that they get afraid
All right.
of
Okay.
it to happen again.
He was acting extra weird, as it turns out
So do we, but
Yes, there was a full moon fairly recently as well, wasn't there? You and me both, Gilda, on those occasions. In the world of migration, what's going on at the office and the front line of migration into Portugal?
okay, there is some discussion about the renewals. They are deciding, when I say they, is the government, they are deciding if they are going to keep it under the IRN
Yep.
or if they are going to bring them back to IMA.
Oh, this is on renewals, is it?
Yes, this is
Right.
on
And
renewals.
that remains the difficult area because we heard, or I heard today, that Chinese artist Ai Weiwei, who you may remember was saying how wonderful it is to live in the Alentejo, and was loving Portugal in the press a couple of years ago, might have changed his attitude a little bit because I think was he deported from Switzerland or couldn't get in because of paperwork
No, it
problems?
happened what I always say here. When you have your card expired, you should not leave the country. And if you want to do it, we prepare the papers explaining everything and putting in this requirement to show the authorities from the country where you are going to stop, that you have this decree law that automatically extends all the residency permits and visas until the end of June.
Wow, yeah.
We do this to our clients, and if they go through Germany, we translate into German. If they go through France, we translate it into French. Sometimes there is no problem at all, but sometimes they ask for the papers, so better be prepared.
Right, and clearly Ai Weiwei is not a client of A. Didn't have
No,
he could have in Switzerland he could have had French and German versions, couldn't he? And really impressed them on the border control.
yes.
Okay, we're sorry to hear that on behalf of a man who was championing Portugal previously, but that seems to be the situation, and that's how
Yes,
you
but
prepare people for
anyhow,
it.
it's not an ideal situation. He did everything right, and in his mind, it they don't have to do it, or they are not obliged to pay for a service that they shouldn't be paying
Yeah, right.
if the government did things well. But
Yes.
unfortunately, it's not working well, so better be safe than sorry, and
And those
it's not an
discussions that you
expensive
mentioned.
service, so
Oh, okay. So if anybody wants that to make sure they're safe coming in and out of the country with expired residency or not an unrenewed paperwork, as it were, then they can reach out and get that from you. And those discussions are ongoing, are they? Whether it's going to be IMA or IRN that deal with that.
yes,
Right.
yes.
So we don't know
And
yet.
also we have some news about the CPLP countries
Right.
that now they are able to change their residency permits from paper to a regular residency permit.
Okay. Well, a credit card sort of plastic thing
Yeah.
in the normal way. Okay. Great. Anything else from you?
No, I think that's all.
Excellent. Okay, we do have a first question for you, but we'll come back to you straight away after we've heard from everybody else on the panel this evening. Sarah Davy, good evening to you. Did you feel it?
I did. I
Did you? What
did.
was that like for you?
I was sat and it sort of the walls shook a little bit. And I was like, is that an earthquake? I wouldn't have given it a thought, but I was here when they had the earthquake last year. And so then I thought, maybe that is an earthquake. But there is a lot of works going on around where I was. So
Yes.
then I thought, is that building works? And then so I Googled and there was nothing. So I thought, oh, maybe it's that. And then later I saw there was an earthquake.
Wow. Okay. Something to tell the folks back home. That's it. So that's your first one you actually felt here in Portugal.
No, second one.
Oh,
Sorry,
the
I felt
second.
the
So
one
you
last
felt the
year.
one
That's
last
why
year.
I
You felt that.
thought,
Okay.
"Hey, is
Right.
that an earthquake?"
Oh, you're a veteran then of
Mhm.
Portuguese earthquakes, right? And Laronda's saying, a little shaker to keep everyone on their toes. You Californians and your little shakers. Yeah, the Californians are really blasé, like, 4.8. Just the ground readjusting itself, Laronda says reassuringly. Is it a similar picture in the world of currency? Did you see what I did there, Sarah?
Oh, very clever. Yes.
It is, right. Okay, seismic on the
Yeah.
markets.
Well, there's just a lot of, it's very difficult at the moment, really, for the markets to forecast. Obviously, there's a lot unknown. Obviously, you've got pandemics, you've got war, we look at data coming out, like inflation data, to sort of give an indication of whether the Fed or the ECB or the Bank of England are going to cut interest rates or keep them on hold or raise interest rates. That's the sort of information that we're looking at. And then obviously sentiment that's coming out by various leaders. Now, this is the slight challenge, is there's a
Nicely
lot
done.
coming out,
Nicely done.
especially in America. So, 1 minute something's said and the markets react, and then, for example, ooh,
Oh, you
ooh,
seem to have changed your camera view, and I think you might that might be a battery outage. I'm sure that's not an earthquake there that Sarah's going through. I think maybe that looks to me like a battery outage there with the. Oh, you're back again, I think, Sarah. Perhaps not. We'll come back to you. Don't no stress. We'll come back to you on that, unless
oh,
you are there now.
can you
You
hear me
okay?
now? Is that
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. How
right?
are you
Yeah, I
doing?
don't know what happened there.
Right.
It's like when they talked initially about the tariffs, imposing them, and then he sort of said, okay, I'll pause that maybe for the moment. And that was sort of a bit of a respite from that. So again, we're kind of backwards and forwards a little bit, and the markets are trying to react, and obviously, therefore, it's very difficult to forecast. So I think ultimately it is probably going to be quite a turbulent time. I think the things obviously that we're looking at are still around inflation data. It's still about interest rate cuts, because the tariffs will make it more expensive, and that is going to really impact sort of the economy in Europe. But equally, if the war in the Ukraine and Russia ends, that will make energy prices cheaper in Europe. So that will help.
Mm.
So, there's a lot of different elements that obviously do impact the exchange rates. And I think because we're in quite unknown times, it's going to be very difficult to budget, because the exchange rates can move very quickly. But overall, at the moment, if you're selling US dollars and buying euros, if we look historically, we're still at very good levels to be buying your euros. So it's still very good news. And how can you capitalize on that is maybe thinking about buying your euros in advance, or we can help you keep an eye on that, just to help make it easier to budget at the end of the day.
In these volatile times, right? I think the live stream from Fort Knox will affect the markets. That'll be an interesting day should that idea ever happen. Right? Anything else from you, Sarah, on currency?
I think just thinking about it before you need to make a payment. Often it's last minute, because someone says, right, you need to pay this invoice for a fee, or you need to transfer money for this, and then you think about it. So it's just trying to think about it a little bit in advance, just to either make it easier, because it may be that you might encounter some issues with your bank, there may be delays with payments, and there's things that we can do to help make that a bit easier, so we can make the payments quicker. And ultimately what we do is we help the conversion of your US dollars into euros, because you're moving to Portugal, everything you do will now be in euros, and you've got US dollars, and that's how we can help.
Very good. And if I may, on a personal level, you're clearly an earthquake veteran. That's my second earthquake. No biggie. Anything unusual or interesting to report from your own personal journey of moving to Portugal?
I think actually at the weekend I was actually in Spain, but again a benefit, because we drove to Seville from I live between Lisbon and Cascais. It took us about 4.5 hours, so it's not too bad. And the fastest route was actually to drive all the way to the Algarve. So we had lunch in the Algarve, and then we drove along to the border and across to Spain. Because once you get to the border, Seville's only about 2 hours. So again, the benefit of being in Portugal, I trying to see different places in Portugal, but also that access to Spain is very good as well.
Sounds fantastic. It sounds like a lovely road trip, that. Lunch in the
Mm.
Algarve and then on to Seville. And you enjoyed Seville, presumably.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, really beautiful city. Would recommend it.
All right. Now, as much as that might be awkward, especially for Gilda, talking about leaving Portugal, that might be our cultural question. Great road trips from Portugal by car. Where would you go? I guess Spain is the obvious option, but we could come back to that a little bit later on. Thanks, Sarah, for the time being. Much appreciated. No. I guess now I have spoken to you, and you were in a meeting, and you did feel this, didn't you, with some other people, and you'll have your own special angle on this, of course, as a man from insurance. How are you this evening?
Hello, everyone. Well, I can explain that this week I am on a cocktail mode. So, as we know, to do a good cocktail, we need a shaker. So instead, we did outsourcing of the
Yes.
shaker.
Well
Okay.
done, Portugal.
So on Monday, I was on a meeting on an industrial building. So made with not made of concrete. And during the meeting, suddenly, oh, what's happening? It is? Yes, it is. It is. So realize that yes, it is, or it was a earthquake. Then, keeping the cocktail mode, on Tuesday, the following day, in Seychelles, a new earthquake shook twice.
Oh, really? So
And on,
aftershocks were felt over there, right?
yes,
Yeah.
and on Wednesday in Sines, so south of Setúbal,
Yeah.
shook also twice.
And you were there for all of them?
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no,
okay,
no.
right.
This is what has appeared in the news.
Yes, yeah.
So yes, we had a lot
Yeah,
for us
right, okay.
on this week. On this
Yeah,
week. Besides all of these, it's a bit sad that knowing that the valuable and most important family's asset is the home, their home. It's sad to know that only the about 40% of the insurance policies in Portugal, property insurance policies, have the earthquake coverage.
right.
Because in Portugal, these big events don't are not covered as on other countries. For example, in Spain, they have a government fund to face an eventually of one big event like a earthquake. In
Yeah,
Portugal, you don't have this. They are keep talking about this, but we are talking about the new airport to Lisbon since 1924. So someday we could have this.
yes.
And so knowing that only 40% of the properties have this coverage, people are not taking care of their most valuable asset, which could be a problem in the future. So, and this could represent an increase of the property insurance policy between 30 to 50%. It depends on different criteria. So it's not is it is an expensive coverage. It's
Yeah.
true, but it could mean all the difference. If
Yes, absolutely. Okay, and if people want to reach out to you for that to make sure they're covered or to check their existing policy, that's the sort of clinic you offer, isn't it, over the phone with people?
yes,
Great. Okay. Is that everything we need to know about earthquakes and insurance?
yeah, I think so.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Much appreciated.
Sorry, by the way,
Oh,
in let me just say that in Lisbon, it's a kind of museum, a kind of place that has a vivid experience
yes.
about the earthquake that hit in Lisbon in 1755.
Yes, and it's called Quake, I think, isn't it? And I'm sure there will be people with us tonight who've been there. If you want to give us a review of that, I actually one of my first jobs when I went into the world of work was at the Geological Museum in London. We had an earthquake machine, and it was one of the most popular exhibits that was there. People love that experience, and you can experience that in Lisbon, as Nunu says there. We'll stay with you because Diana's saying. So, Nunu, does that mean earthquake coverage is optional, even if one's property is in an earthquake zone and they have a mortgage? It would appear so.
Yes, yes.
And is that why the government are sort of reluctant to insist that people have earthquake coverage, because they're not coming up themselves with a scheme to help people?
I don't know the reason. I think that it's a political decision or
Yeah.
option. It's only
Okay.
that.
All
Because
right.
if they want to put this in place,
They
they do
could
it.
do it, couldn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they could.
But as you say, talk of an airport. I mean, in 1924, were they talking about, we need to bring 2 propeller planes into Lisbon daily. We need to expand the airport. And now look, and
Yeah,
also the other bit of news that's I think has been talked about quite a lot as well is the fast train. That's back on the agenda, isn't it? The Lisbon to Leiria in, I think, 40 minutes or something like that.
that's what they are saying.
But you look very cynical again. You have the same. You seem to have the same expression that you did for the earthquake cover and the airport. You think that's just a little bit of hot air at the moment.
Yeah, it is.
All right, sorry to say that, but what a great thing that will be if it does happen. The fast train out from Lisbon to this part of the this side of the country to Leiria in less than an hour would be pretty awesome. Yes, that's the one. Jose Cruz, Lisbon to Leiria in 35 minutes by 2030. You've become so Portuguese. Honestly, right? No, you're gonna add something there.
Yes, following what the visit that Sarah did to Sevilla, that
Yes,
I really loved, the optimal time to visit Sevilla, it's on the first weekend of April that
right.
they have the festivities of the city, and it's purely amazing. It
Is
really
it?
is.
Okay, well, she's got to go back. I'm going to come back to you for more. I guess what they'd be city breaks, wouldn't they? Weekends away from Portugal that you might suggest to Gilda and Nuno and Sarah. You might have something to add to that as well. And hopefully, I haven't forgotten anybody who's here on the panel tonight. Just a shout out to me if I have. Want to make sure you're all included, obviously. Earthquake coverage here is so expensive and covers so little. This is in California, by the way, from La Ronda. Most people I know don't even bother with it, so it's not mandatory over there either, and it's too expensive, which is probably isn't the story here in Portugal from what we know already with those sorts of comparisons. Right, let's go back to you, Gilda, if we may. First question came in for you from MI. For Gilda, after I get my residency card, what is the way to get residency for my 32-year-old daughter? And you asked a few questions, and I think you've got some answers on that.
Okay, this is not an easy one because to make a family reunification process with someone that is already an adult, you need to prove that this person is single, is still living with the parents' income, and needs to be enrolled in a Portuguese school or university.
Right. Okay.
Those are the criteria.
Yep.
We may have some other creative solutions, but then we should discuss it in private.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, you asked the question there about whether the person is dependent, and they are in that case. So, best thing to do, MI, is to reach out to Gilda because it doesn't look like you satisfy those particular criteria there. Jim, acquired my VFS appointment. Stay where you are, Gilda, because I think we've got more for you. Acquired my VFS appointment in San Francisco for April. Oh, just some thanks for you here. Thank you, EIA, for your great
Thank you.
support and tips in this process. So, some lovely feedback from Jim there. And MI also sold their house in the US. In what country do you suggest to keep the money? In USA, Portugal, or any other from the safety and taxation point of view? Have you got a view on that, Gilda?
Yes,
Sarah
of
will.
course.
What's
There is
yours?
the safest place is in my bank account.
Right,
Okay.
obviously. Details of which will be
Nothing
shared directly with you when you
nothing
meet
will
them.
happen. No.
Nothing
Just
will happen. Yeah, right.
or you can invest in our company, with
Well, there you
then
go.
you will have some great return. No,
Ooh,
just
wow.
kidding. I think that in that case, I would maybe you can send me an email and I will forward you to someone that is a specialist in this wealth management.
Right. It's quite a lot of money by the sound of it. I think your account cannot handle it. Well, let's try. Let's do it. There's only one way to find out. Perhaps MI.
Yes, you see, I didn't say my account. Oh, I have several.
We
I
can
have
spread it out.
several. I
Right.
have several companies. Okay, I have like 4 or 5 companies, and I have several bank accounts.
She's
So
not going to let this
no
go,
problem with
Emma.
that.
She's not going to let this go. So some of that money is heading Gilda's way by the sound of it. Right. Any more questions, Emma? Pop them in the chat. And you might have a view on this as well, Sarah. Somebody has released some funds on a house sale. I think that was, wasn't it? Do you have a recommendation, or can you say what's available as a service from you for holding that sort of level of money?
Well, I mean, do you have a bank account here in Portugal? Because if not, you can still buy your euros. We can hold them free of charge, very much like a bank account, and we can pay third parties from that account. So if you've not got a bank account set up yet in Portugal and you need to pay people, or you want to take advantage of the rate, you can buy your euros and we can hold them for you.
Right.
As far as where to hold them from a like tax, that sort of thing, or looking to invest, then as Gilda says, you really need to speak to tax specialist and then an investment, financial advisor
Yes.
that can advise on those sort of things. But certainly for the moving the money, we can help with that. And as I said, if you've not got a bank account set up in Portugal, we can help.
So if money is in a Spartan FX holding account, where is that deemed to be the territory of, if that's not too clumsy a question?
It depends on where the client's based,
Right.
whether it be UK or Frankfurt, depending on where the client's based.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Or
All
if
right.
it's a US dollar account, then it may be in the US. So if it's in euros, then we can hold it somewhere else, because we can hold US dollars
Yes.
and wait and then convert it at a different time. Because sometimes people do that. For example, if they've sold their house and the money hasn't yet come into their own account, say in the US, and the money's coming from a lawyer and they're here in Portugal, then to sort of avoid that extra step of going from the lawyer to their account in the US and then to us, the lawyer can send the money direct to us, and then we can exchange it. We can hold it. We can hold the US dollars for them for ease until the rate, till the rate moves, or we
Yep.
can convert them into euros at that point.
Very good. So including Peda here, there's all sorts of offers to hold your money. It would appear this evening as well. Maybe gift an Expats Portugal membership to somebody as well this evening. We can do that, Jerry, can't we? We can pay it forward with a membership if necessary.
Absolutely, we can, Carl, or 50 or 100. We can do that, no problem at all.
Probably some sort of discount on that as well. Fantastic. Right. Let's go back to you, Peder, because that was an interesting situation you have there. That we were talking earlier on, and I meant to ask you about this, Nuno, about blood donations. Apparently, I have the same blood group as most Basques, B negative, but cannot donate because I was born with jaundice. Nuno, what's the situation? The culture for giving blood here in Portugal. Could you say anything about that?
I think that the culture is pretty good. Could not be enough,
Right.
especially on the summertime with more accidents on the streets. Usually authorities appeal to give blood.
Oh, that's seasonal. Right.
Yeah, some companies, big companies, okay, organize these blood giving. I don't know which is the name,
Mhm.
but to meet the personnel to give blood,
Mhm.
and some ambulances and the private facilities attend to the company facility to get the blood from the workers.
Yeah.
Yes, and then in the end they have like a cup of tea and one cookie or
I
so.
did wonder for a moment if in Portugal you'd get like a glass of wine after giving blood, but it's a cup of tea, is it?
It seems
Or
not.
coffee, right?
And as far as I know, it seems that he is healthy.
Yeah.
I know that there are some limitations regarding disease that we had regarding our age also.
Mm.
But yeah, there are bank donations,
Okay.
bank blood donations. Yeah,
Yes,
all the
and,
time.
and these appeals, and sometimes they're seasonal. Okay, and in the US, we get a glass of orange juice after donating blood, says Diana. Thank you for that, Diana. And just encourage. My wife tried to donate, waited in line, only to be told that unless she could produce a residency card, they would not accept her donation.
Yeah.
She has a European residence certificate, but has not yet received. That's another reason why I'm a IRN should get on with it. They're stopping people giving blood here in this country. I meant to write same, but it is very sane advice. Thank you there, Peder. Jerry, I think you wanted to add something to this part of the conversation.
Well, yes, I was going to say the same thing. I think there are some issues with foreigners wanting to donate blood in Portugal. I don't know for sure, but I've been told sort of that it's not that easy for foreigners to give blood here in Portugal.
Right.
I guess that's something we should check out, and we'll maybe put on the next webinar.
Good. Okay. Thanks for that. Yeah, it's just because it came up in the news as a particular appeal at the moment. That would be great to find out where we stand as foreigners in the country.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry, for
I
that.
think our blood maybe doesn't meet the standards, the Portuguese standards. I think that might be the problem.
Will it help if I mention the Treaty of Windsor? My blood is English. Surely you want this, or some of it is. Right, okay. Thank you for that, Jerry. And don't forget, everyone, this is a Q&A. We need your questions in the chat. Good evening to you, JMC, over on YouTube. And typically, as you might guess from a Portuguese person, best thing Sevilla has is a sign pointing the way back to Portugal. And there is one blood in high demand, says JMC as well. It's the universal donor, but can only receive of its kind now. I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but that's, I guess there's a particular popular kind of blood that's required, which is fine if you have that blood to give, but otherwise they might not want you. Another reason why you might get rejected on that basis there. Nuna, you added something to the insurance question about earthquakes there. So does that mean, this is Diana's response to it, does that mean an earthquake coverage is optional? Oh, so we've done that with the mortgage there, but beware, you say, only a few life insurers cover death due to an earthquake. That's strange, isn't it?
Yes, it's true. It's true.
Right. Okay. Right. And Diana says, so there's earthquake exclusionary language in life contracts. Wow. Again, that's something you could establish with people if they want to find out.
Yes.
Okay. All
So,
right.
because this information never appears on quote either in your insurance policy.
Yes. Okay. You need to read the
I
wording.
have a question to Nuno,
Go on,
because
Gilda.
yeah, I've been thinking about this, Nuno. So, do you have any specific insurance for this earthquake?
Earthquake not has a standalone insurance policy or a standalone coverage. Is on property insurance policies, it's a coverage that you can buy, you can add to all other insurance policies. On life insurance policies, there's no way to, it's not an option, get it or not. If there is excluded on the wording, there is no way of getting it. So be aware that only a few insurers provide this coverage.
Okay, Gilda.
Okay, so maybe you could help us out, because it seems that one of these days it's going to happen, but maybe it's going to be so destroyed that no insurance will.
That's a cheerful thought. Thank you for that, Gilda, this evening. And the reason I was smiling
I
during
better not say anything
yeah, it
else.
was not about earthquakes. It's like if you're a premium member and you can be here in Zoom, you can see all the funny comments as well. So it's like a comedy show as well as a Q&A and a town hall. Thank you for that comment there, José Cruz.
Yes, please get me a glass of wine, José Cruz. Please.
Yes. Is that your earthquake preparation, Gilda?
Not really. I'm feeling really inner peace right now.
Really? Yes. And it's been a little while since I've talked to you about this and your recent fitness regime. Has that extended to mindfulness and you know your body as a temple and meditation? What's the secret?
I don't know. I think I'm just getting old and my thoughts are being different.
Okay.
I feel like a
Well,
grown-up now.
then we should all be calm, shouldn't we? I mean, no disrespect to anybody
Yes.
here.
I feel like I'm too grown up now.
Really?
I don't bother with many things as I used to. I
Wow.
feel much more calmer.
Okay. All right. So you're more the King Duarte than the Henry the Navigator, as we found out, in terms of personality. More philosophical rather than get in a boat and sail around the world these days. Okay, very good. In fact, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Pick your Portuguese royal archetype. And here we see tonight, Gilda is more like Edward the philosopher. Fantastic. Okay, currently I'm putting together, let's stay with you, Gilda. I'm putting together the itinerary list for the baggage certificate issued from the London Portuguese consulate. I am being told the certificate will take up to 30 to 40 working days. Does that mean we are not allowed to move to Portugal until we are in possession of the baggage certificate, Gilda?
You can move to Portugal yourselves, but to start the process of your items to come to Portugal, you need to wait for the luggage certificate.
Okay, there you go for you, Derek. And Diana, if there's time, can someone speak to the status of the EES application? I keep worrying about the ETIAS requirement. Of course, definitely we'll make time for that, Diana. What is the situation currently with the EES and ETIAS requirement? And could you also decode those acronyms for us before we answer that question, Gilda?
Actually, no, because I don't know what they stand for.
No, brilliant. I don't mean like literally what each letter stands for, but this is the Schengen ring basically.
Yes, and what I know about this, that it's going to be easy to fill in. For those who already have a residency permit or residency visa, you won't need that. Okay, this is only for controlling people that go in and out the Schengen area without a long-term visa. And it is foreseen that ETIAS is going to start by October because it has been postponed many times, but now they are saying that it should start in October.
Okay.
Diana, so I guess that, Diana, we will find more when we will get closer.
And can I ask, Diana, why you're worried about the ETIAS requirement?
Yeah,
what specifically is the problem there? It shouldn't be difficult. I wouldn't have thought for somebody in your position, but let us know what.
Diana, do like me. Don't worry about anything.
Oh, I want to travel. I already have paid for travel, so that's why I want to make sure I have all the right documentation.
Okay,
but you are coming as a tourist
from the U.S. Yes, until my citizenship is reviewed and approved, hopefully approved.
Okay, so when the time comes, if it's already in force, you just drop us an email and we will see if it's difficult or not. I think it's going to be something very easy that you can do from the website.
Okay. We had heard it was going to be implemented in 2025, but I guess maybe we just need to be less nervous about delays. You know, in the US, we tend to be more concerned.
I think from what I heard, government sources, it's foreseen to be in October 2025.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, Diana. And yeah, maybe don't bring the sword and headdress that might arouse unnecessary difficulties on the border there. Do love that picture, however. Let's go to back to Derek for a moment. I hope that helps, Diana, there. I'm going to drive our household goods to Portugal in a lorry. Is the baggage certificate sufficient to satisfy the French customs, or will they require other documents? What do you think on that? Driving things over from the UK and crossing borders.
I think it's directly from the UK to Portugal, so I don't think that the French have anything to do with it. I never had a case like that. It's only between the country that is sending the goods and the one that is receiving them.
There you go.
You need, I'm not sure you already have your residency permit, because you need to have the residency permit, and you need to change your tax address to Portugal before you do that. Everything aligned with the luggage certificate.
Right, there you go, Derek. Let's know on that. Oh, I'm an Irish.
Okay, Irish. So you need to have the crew, and you need to have the tax address updated to Portugal.
Right, sorry, we knew that, Derek. Forgive us for not remembering that, but there you go. That should help now. And we'll stay with you, Gilda. Thanks for that, says Derek. And with you, Gilda. To Gilda, read the luggage certificate. Do I need to have a residency card, or having an IMA appointment would be enough?
Okay, so according to law, it should be a residency card. But because it's taking so long, we have been managing to get with the visa and the appointment.
Right. Okay. There you go.
But it's not straightforward. It
No.
requires like going like this.
Right, good to see you, Alex. How's everything going for you? Let us know on that, and hopefully that helps you, that particular answer. In the absence of any more questions coming in at the moment, get those questions in. We've got about 15 minutes left. Let's ask our panelists here. We'll come back to Sarah's lovely weekend in Seville. And the idea, I mean, this is another one of the great benefits of living in Portugal and moving to Portugal, is the proximity to the rest of Europe. Gilda, what's your favorite getaway? I know, we don't like to be disloyal to Portugal and talk about other places being better. Let's just establish they're not better, they're just different, and it's quite nice to get away. Change is as good as the rest and all that. But what's your ideal getaway weekend going somewhere else in Europe? Where do you like to go, or where would you like to go?
It depends.
Oh, of course. Are those T-shirts ready yet? Or the It Depends baseball cap? We have to have those. Okay.
It depends if I'm going with kids. Maybe if I'm going with kids, I will take them to Madrid, because there are lots of fun things to do in Madrid.
Yeah.
If I'm going with my husband, maybe I will go to Paris, because it's romantic.
Yeah.
If it's Christmas, we will choose a place with nice Christmas village.
Yeah, maybe
And
Germany.
if it's summer, we will choose a place maybe in south of Spain with a good resort and hot water.
What fantastic choices there. Okay, and hot water, okay.
And now one thing, now the kids like to ski. So we are also going to take them to Serra Nevada in Spain to ski.
Oh, really? Wow, that's
Yes.
amazing.
So
Fantastic.
that's a lot of things that you can do, but it's better to do it from Portugal to the
Yes.
other places, because if you are like in the other places and then coming to Portugal or to other places, it's not going to work that well. So please, you come to Portugal, and then from Portugal, you go to visit all these other places.
Well said. And you must have heard this a lot, Gilda, from people who've moved here. When they go away, they often say it was so nice to be home as well, don't they? This is people from UK, from America. They're talking about Portugal as home very quickly. I think, Sarah, you've even done that, haven't you?
Oh, yes.
The sense of home.
Yeah, it became home very quickly.
Yeah.
When I went back to the UK at Christmas, I couldn't wait to come home. And even when I was in Seville, as much as I loved Seville and, the different sort of culture of Spain, tapas, and sort of the vibe was very good, I thought this is lovely to visit, but I want to go home. Like,
Isn't that
it's
lovely?
not home. I don't know if I could live there. So
as beautiful as it was.
Sorry to interrupt. I love Seville. It's a place that I really like to visit from time to time. But come on, who wants to live there eating tapas all the time and with all this Spanish screaming on your ears? It gives you a lot of headache.
Yes, it ruins your calm, doesn't it? The calm that you've created for yourself, Jude.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. A good caveat. It's fine, but in small doses. Love living here, says Alex Cake. Portugal became home very quickly. So there's another one. Same here. Same here. This
Also,
idea of home
food.
it's lovely.
I
It says
would
so much about the
say,
country.
I think the food and the wine was better in Portugal as well.
Oh wow. Okay. I thought you were going to say something else there. I thought you were going to make a confession
No,
live,
no, I
live on
think
the
it was
town hall
better.
there.
I had some seafood in Seville, and it was nice. But I've had better in Portugal.
Yeah. Wonderful. I can even hear birds singing. Oh, okay. That's a lovely thing. And especially at the moment, I saw my first hoopoe of the year. The bird life here is amazing. And a Mediterranean frog that was bright green. There are signs of spring in the air. Thank you for that, Sarah. Thank you for that, Gilda. Oh, Sarah, what else have you got on your list that you're going to just enjoy sparingly and not too much time away, but obviously, but where else have you got on your list?
Well, actually, it is in Portugal.
Really?
The
Okay.
furthest north that I've been is Porto.
Yeah.
So I really want to go to sort of Braga and Punta Lima and travel around up the north of Portugal.
And pop to the Jerez if you can as well on that same trip. It's lovely up there. Fantastic. Okay. We'll come to you, Nuno, in just a moment on yours, on your weekend getaways. But we've got Pedder asking, back to you, Gilda. I thought that you asked for a baggage certificate when you receive your visa. Surely, don't call her Shirley. Surely you cannot move to Portugal without your possessions, then get a residence card, travel back to, in my case, País de Gales in Wales to pick up the stuff. I'm bringing the stuff with me to Portugal. Am I making sense? The sequence. Pedder, do you want to unmute and put that to Gilda yourself?
I can explain. This
okay,
thing about the luggage certificate doesn't make a lot of sense. Why? Because for you to bring your goods, you need to have the luggage certificate issued from the consulate.
Yes.
But in order to have the luggage certificate, you need to have either your residency card or an appointment with IMA and change your tax residency to Portugal. In practical terms, what does this mean? That you need to come to Portugal, do the paperwork, go back to your country, take care of the luggage certificate, and then come back to Portugal so that you can take your goods without paying VAT.
Right. Okay. All right. Is that clear now, Pedder? No, it's not. Okay. He's going to ask.
Of course not, because it doesn't make sense.
Complicado.
It's Portuguese bureaucracy.
Yes. Go on, Pedder.
Right. Okay. Oops, you've disappeared from my screen.
No, we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. That doesn't make sense to me because obviously I've done this once before, but the only difference was we were in the European Union. I took everything. Well, I sent everything by transport or my stuff by transport, and then I took what I didn't send by transport with me in my van and trailer. I didn't have to have any luggage thing then. I just wasn't charged any VAT because most of my stuff went over. But of course, we were in the European Union. Now, this time, it doesn't make any sense. I'm going to send my stuff with, say, Algarve removers for just to think of someone. But then I'll still have a lot of stuff that I haven't sent with them that I'll probably need when I arrive in Portugal, having bought the house, having got my visa, having got everything in place, having sent my dogs. And then what do I do then? Because surely I'm not going to be charged VAT. I mean, I don't know what it's called in Portuguese, but it's called flyttebil in Norwegian. It's stuff you take with you when you're moving from one country to another, which is accepted as being normal.
For personal
Yes,
effect.
but
Personal
what you can do is that once you are in Portugal and you change your tax residency, you can reach the consulate and ask them to issue the luggage certificate remotely.
Yeah, but I'm
They
in
do
Portugal
that.
then. I'm already in Portugal.
Yes, you are, but you
My
can.
stuff is in Britain. Where? Somewhere in Britain, not in a house because I've sold it. I've got to bring it with me. I mean, the thing is, see, you're the expert.
I'm going to explain how it works. And they,
Imagine if I bought a place, I've already changed my tax thing because I've got an IF and I've bought a place. So to buy a place, as soon as I buy that and I apply for a visa, surely I've done my, I'm then taxable in Portugal automatically, aren't I?
no, it's not automatically. Once you have your visa, you need to change the tax residency.
I mean, I can do that online, can I? I don't need to come to Portugal to do that. Once I'm ready and I'm about to leave with all my stuff and everything, surely I can change. I can then inform them, oh, by the way, this is my property. I've got a visa registered to that property. I'd like to check. I've sold my UK house. I've no longer got a UK address. Surely I then say, this is my now tax residency. Surely that doesn't.
Yes, if you manage to change your tax residency online.
Yeah, is that the way you do it? I don't understand why I have to come to Portugal, do that, and then go back to get my stuff. I don't get that. That doesn't make sense. And besides, it'd be bloody expensive.
No, what usually people do is that they come to Portugal because think with me. To issue the luggage certificates, they ask the change of the tax residence, which yes, you can try to do it online in the portal, but they also require the residency permit. That's why people usually come to Portugal, do the residency permit. Things are storage in their country, and when they have the luggage certificate and the residency permit, they send things to Portugal, okay? But if you want to try, do it only with the visa and without the residency permit, then you need to check with the agency that you are using to see if they accept it or not.
Okay, let's pretend it's Algarve removal. That's the only one I know. I don't know if I'm going to use them. But when I contact them and I say, okay, I've sold my house, I've got my visa, I'm moving to Portugal, can you come and pick my stuff up, please? And they come and pick up my stuff, and that's gone then. But of course, you've always got stuff that you need that you haven't sent because you don't know when it's going to turn up. So you've always got stuff, and I don't want to pay. Let's say, for example, I've got valuable stuff like guitars. I don't want to pay. I've had them for years. I don't want to pay VAT on them. I used to be a DJ traveling all over Europe, different countries.
Of course not.
I didn't pay VAT on my records every time I moved.
Of course not. That's why you have to check how you can get the luggage certificate, and it's something that you need to manage, you and the company that you are going to use. And if they ask you anything, we have some movers companies, they ask us to change the tax residency without the residency permit, because that's the difficult part here.
Have a chat with GIR as well, Pedro.
Yeah, that's the thing. And if I came to you, for example, and said, can you do my visa, right, which I might do, depends on this, then I'm so sorry, but I'm not, well, I'm an old poor fella. Not that poor, but I'm poor. But if you were doing it, then you would do that, would you? You would change my residency. That would be part of something.
Yes.
So I don't have to worry then.
No, and you'll be dealing. Pedro, I understand your frustration and difficulty.
But that's the thing. That's why we help you on that. And if you have many clients of ours, they are using relocation companies to do their moves, and we talk with them and we help in whatever documents they need to get.
Yeah, here's the thing, Pedro. For you, it's your first go at doing this, right? For the companies you'll be working with, they're doing it for people all the time, so they'll help you manage that process. So you won't.
That's the first time I'm doing it outside of not being in the European Union anymore, of course.
Well, they're used to that as well. They'll have done it for other people in your situation.
I'm not, because it was easy for me to travel.
Of course, no, and things have changed. But from your point of view, it's the first time in the new circumstances, and they're dealing with people like that all the time. So rest assured, you will get help from the people.
I just didn't see how I could You know,
They
I
know
wasn't worried
what
about
to do.
sending stuff. I wasn't worried about the removal companies taking my stuff. I knew they'd have I'm more worried about the stuff I am bringing with me because maybe they're too valuable to risk sending with a removal company.
Well,
Or
maybe,
I
but
wouldn't have seen them.
if you've got receipts and they're clearly your own personal items, that's also a factor, isn't it, Gilda?
How do you keep a receipt from 20 years ago? Then this is the thing, isn't it?
That's
You know,
a
this is my
difficult
lifetime
one.
stuff. It's not something
Yes.
I just went out last week and bought.
No,
I
understood.
got a
Understood.
receipt.
Have a chat with whoever's going to be moving you, or scope them out before you do that, before you engage them, and see how they would approach that. But you know,
I'm
that's why
sorry,
you're
I
using.
got really confused about.
No, that's fair enough,
I
and that's
thought,
why
well,
you're using the professionals. They know what they're doing, so that you don't have to be stressed about it. Okay. I do need to move on because we're coming up to the end of the.
sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. We need to find out about another weekend away here. That's our next one. Before we go there, Nuno, what do you recommend as a weekend getaway from Portugal, coming back ASAP?
Okay, so if we are seeking for a place, definitely Jerez.
Okay, all right, yes.
No doubt. I'm not a person that likes to visit culture, museums, and concrete and stone and things made by men. So I prefer the countryside and be outdoors.
The cathedrals of nature.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So
So I prefer that, but usually I prefer the do a trip inside myself. So
a
it
trip
depends.
inside you. Oh, listen to
Maybe any
you
place.
and Gilda. What's going on here? Wow. Okay. Very interesting. We'll look forward to the first.
We are in the same woods.
You know what, Jerry? We need to put on like an Expats Portugal holistic weekend at a spa where Gilda and Nuno can teach us how to meditate and go within, so that we don't have to go to Seville. Maybe.
I'll be very glad to do that, but I'm not going.
You'd like to go to Seville, right? Okay, or Madrid or
No,
something.
I'd like to go and stay in some nice hotel somewhere and, and relax and have room service and all that sort of stuff.
No joysticks and Reiki for you. All right.
Not all this contemplating your navel and,
God forbid. God forbid. Derek, great
Yeah.
advice tonight. Thanks for all your input. Thanks everyone from La Ronda, and thanks for the webinar and your contributions as well there. Thank you, La Ronda. Much appreciated. Oh, and talking of weekends away, look at this. We're going to be going to Coimbra on the 12th of April. Do you want to add anything to my mention of it here, Astrid? I think that's just gone up on our website so that you can register
Sorry,
for that this evening.
yes, I've just put it up onto the site, but I'm just
Ah.
waiting for the hotel to come through with the secret code to get the discount on accommodation. So
Okay.
I've put one in there, which is just a temporary one. So hopefully tomorrow they'll come back to me with the code to receive, because we have negotiated a deal at the how do you pronounce it? Villa Gale Coimbra
Okay, yeah.
Hotel for
All
a
right.
10% off discount. But you can always go in there otherwise on the calendar on Expats Portugal and book the other elements of it. But yeah, don't try the code yet because it's not active.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. That's the botanical garden you're seeing there in Coimbra. It's a fantastic place. We'll talk about it a bit more in the morning together, Astrid, when you're on the show in the morning. Looking forward to that. It's a fantastic city, Coimbra, and of course there'll be and she'll be on home territory. This is where Filomena was. This is her hometown, really, her home city, and where she was educated as well. And she'll very proudly share Coimbra with us for that weekend. So 12th of April, pop that in your diary. Unless there's anything else, Astrid, should we leave it there for this evening?
That's it for now. So thank you very much. We'll see you next week.
All right. See you then, everybody. Muito obrigado. Muito prazer. No, yes, muito prazer for those who we haven't met yet. And thanks to everybody else who's been here again for our town hall on a Thursday evening, every Thursday evening between 9 and 10. Take care. Bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Ciao, ciao.